Good morning today, 9th September 2024. We are going to do editorial analysis. First article here, Indian economy, it is growing amid global challenges. In recent times, you might have seen in South Asia also, a lot of challenges countries are facing. Even countries have been defaulting and then economy is collapsing. If you see globally, global scenario is also not promising. Even during such conditions, India is performing well. In this discussion, this article has been discussed. This article you can relate to GS paper 3. India's economic landscape, it remains one of the resilience and potential, although Indian economy facing challenges from several sectors. In recent times, you might have seen GDP data declined from anticipated growth rate of 8% to 6.7%. But country as such continues to grow, and this is a leading country among fastest growing global economies. We discussed several times, India has an ambition to become world fastest economy by 2047 with a $30 trillion economy. Even we are ambitious to become $5 trillion economy soon. This achievement, the reduction in the GDP, is an indicator of India's gradual economic aggrandizement. This positions India as a global player in economic growth and development. If you see major economies around the world, they experience slowdowns, but India's economic growth remained robust. One key challenge we need to see from Indian government is that there is a growing need to create more employment opportunities. Though growth rate is happening, but that growth rate is not complemented by employment opportunities. Wherever, if you see service sector, the growth rate is happening. However, service sector need all skilled people, heavily skilled people. Suppose say you are having knowledge in ChatGPT, your knowledge remains in artificial intelligence, machine learning. Whether unskilled people, whether they can have such knowledge. So these skilled sectors, they are capturing only few people, but large workforce remaining in the unorganized sector, which is not happening. That is the area where we need to focus more on employment opportunities. The number of unemployed, underemployed citizens, this has increased over the years. Even the problem is complicated by rapid globalization. This introduced a new era marked by principle of either you perform or perish. This impacting public sector enterprises, businesses worldwide. India's public sector, this has been immune to this trend. If you see Indian public sector, it has faced numerous challenges from worldwide, even competition also. This also impacted several factors. But in India, if you see abundance of the cheap labor, proactive push towards foreign direct investment, they have given country a promising future. They could generate more employment opportunities. Despite India's initial cautious approach to economic reforms, during 1991, we introduced LPG reforms. Government gradually implemented a range of confidence building measures. What do you mean by confidence building measures? Those areas where we did not penetrate or we did not make any mark, we started slowly going into those areas and then we started making our efforts. That is called confidence building measures. That was happened through liberalization, privatization, globalization measure that happened in 1991. These kind of initiatives not only promote economic growth, they also aim to ensure equitable development of various societal sectors. If you see socio-economic justice, India developed a trust within the country and abroad, and India's progress with export-oriented special economic zones. India established several special economic zones across the country. These special economic zones have been contributing to export various goods and services from the country. Even it is absorbing large number of manpower into its area. If you see India's global trade, the share is just around 0.7% in the early stages. But There were efforts continued by country to strengthen country's medium-term export strategy between 2002 and 2007. This yielded many positive results. Economic reforms, LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization that happened in 1991. This gave India a significant boost, and the boost marked the beginning of economic liberalization. Some Southeast Asian economies, even China also, they received higher levels of foreign direct investment. But India superior corporate governance, high quality of commercially driven companies, these things allowed India to achieve better returns on investment. India's success has also been driven by business experts, investors. These business experts and investors, they have made their mark in the overseas, particularly if you see fields, information technology, biotechnology, pharmaceutical, healthcare. Even these sectors, they have become areas. These areas, advanced economies must catch up. Those economies, those who have fully developed, so they can explore into these areas, they can bring foreign direct investment, they can create a good economy here. Additionally, India's indigenous entrepreneurship industries, they have provided country with significant advantage over other economies that rely heavily on this foreign direct investment. If you see one area, one greater example, China, how they developed, first thing, they developed export oriented manufacturing sector entirely by bringing foreign direct investment. Foreigner comes, they bring huge investment, they invest in the country, and whatever the investment they are making, they will produce the goods, they are exporting. China created export oriented manufacturing boom. This is not substitute to homegrown entrepreneurship, but in India's case, we are focusing more on building strong internal market. Instead of getting huge FDIs, we are creating our own internal market. Even if some shock happens in the world market, our market will be more resilient. It won't be impacted by world economies. The complexity of financial dealings, this is one major challenge India handled very well. So if you see, for example, Japan faced severe economic issues because of malfunctioning in the financial system in the recent years. Even this highlighted the importance of constant monitoring by competing authorities. We have Reserve Bank of India to monitor our banking system. There are even several statutory organizations are there. Those things will monitor countries' prestigious institutions and organizations so that they function within the limits and within the orders. India's mature financial markets, even robust regulations, they govern them with and they help investors with confidence and stability. Additionally, if you see, China is a leader in saving rates, infrastructure, manufacturing, but India's services driven growth, institutional stability, this will be rooted with our democratic system, pluralism. This sets apart from China and other even countries also. Even promising development in India's economic landscape is that there is a growth of startups. In the last 5 years, if you see, country has seen more than 10,000 startups, they emerged, they created 1 lakh jobs both directly and indirectly. This success has been attributed to robust strategy that expanded operational and support networks from rural to urban areas. If you see NASCOM, National Association of Software and Services Company, they reported startups have significantly contributed to employment generation. They also solidified India's economic prospects. Foreign investors, they also recognized India's potential. If you see, over the past 2 decades, more than 60 billion has been invested in Indian stock markets. Additionally, over 600 investors, they have been granted permission to trade on India's stock exchange. What happens? They come to stock exchange. It's basically forex reserves. It helps country in good manner. When basically it is a positive effect. In management, one concept is there that is called game theory. Suppose say 2 organizations are there, A and B. One organization, they have started coaching center, another organization in front of it they have built, because of that organization doing well. So if you are thinking that because this organization, B organization has come, then it affects A organization, it is wrong. Both these organizations, when they are coming, they create good value. The same manner, if foreign investors are coming and investing in Indian stock market, in the same manner, the news will be, the spillover effect will be grown over all over the world. Then investor will come and invest in the country. Then this will create infrastructural activity. This will lead to employment generation. This further, if you see India's progress in the IT industry, this opened new doors for Indian companies. These companies are now aggressively expanding into overseas markets also. Countries, compliance and regulatory authorities ensured foreign investment are secure. Even economic transactions are monitored thoroughly so that taxation properly happen and then countries' economic growth happen properly. Despite the challenges posed by tough global climate, economic climate, India's G20 presidency, recently we have held G20 meeting in New Delhi. This provided opportunity to position ourselves as a key player in global manufacturing, and we also positioned ourselves as a reliable partner in various sectors also. The corporations, the cooperation among G20 nations, this fostered development of new strategies. This will be taken to meet the needs of vulnerable communities. This will foster a more inclusive global society. This cooperation, this will lead to positive shift in international relations. This will promote greater harmony and collaboration. India's impressive progress, this can be largely attributed to its talent, strategic foresight. But the country must continue to navigate social and political pressures presently happening that may hamper growth momentum in the long term. By addressing all these challenges, India can further solidify its position as a global economic powerhouse. India can capable of driving economic growth not only within its borders but also across the world. This is the article about Indian economy and global challenges. Next article, this article is about e-commerce sector. E-commerce sector, see in India, e-commerce sector growing very rapidly, but this growth is not coupled with inclusive development. This article we will discuss from GS paper 2 from economy point of view. E-commerce, they pose significant challenge for jobs. At a time, if you see India confronting with the employment crisis, but when you see e-commerce sector, the quality and quantity of the jobs that are being developed through e-commerce, they are reducing very slowly. The quality means e-commerce requires highly developed technologies. That means they cannot take people with less skills. Those people with working in the industry, they cannot work in e-commerce sector. Those who are having skills, they can only will have to work in e-commerce. Recently, even Commerce Minister expressed concerns over the growth of e-commerce and its employment impact. Ministers highlighted India's market could have become part of the e-commerce network in next decade. This will be a matter of concern. Why this is a matter of concern? As per Bain Consulting Group, they forecasted India's e-commerce growth rate will be at compounded annual growth rate 11.79. That means every year it will grow at 11.8% from 2024 to 28. This is almost equal to United States of America's growth rate of 11.82%. Even it outpaces projected global e-commerce growth in 9%. Globally it is 9%. India's e-commerce sector growing at 11.8%. Online retail, this will account for 25% of the total organized retail in India. As this e-commerce sector grows, a key concern is how it will impact India's MSME sector. What is MSME? Micro, small, medium enterprises. If you see in India, micro, small, medium enterprises, they are an important source of employment. They engage almost 11.1 crore people across the country. So this e-commerce sector may impact MSME, then MSME may lose their importance and slowly they will also become jobless and people may lose job over period of time. Among The benefits that have been pointed out through e-commerce, because they are e-commerce potential to provide business markets access, then they extend it beyond physical location to wider geographical radius. Even they will help in boosting exports also. But these things may be good for business, but they don't apply in majority. Given the India's businesses are unregistered micro enterprises, they face with several obstacles while engaging with e-commerce. Rapid adoption of this online payment system, UPIs, they are among the small business cited evidence for the propensity of the business to take e-commerce. But meaningfully engaging in e-commerce goes beyond that. We need to do a lot of paperwork. Registration of businesses onto platform, this requires a lot of paperwork. There are laborious onboarding process and platform fees. How can we make sure shop or product is competitive and it stands out among the others? These challenges, additional barriers like access to finance, procurement, they are more pronounced for women to engage in e-commerce as artisans or small-scale producers. Even some evidence suggests businesses that are online, they are more productive, but that's because to get online and benefit from him, business must be better business to begin with. That means they require a lot of investment. Those things will not come that easily. For many such small businesses, e-commerce starts and ends with adding some app-based delivery personnel, even a UPI payment system also. This kind of consolidation of business is inevitable. It is growing across the country. But how many organizations can survive in this way? The only organization those things can survive in such a manner would be fittest organization. That means those small organizations such as MSMEs, they will be left out and they will be squeezed out. Beyond impact of this e-commerce on MSMEs, there are questions around these e-commerce. They are generating whether new jobs or not. E-commerce, see, they will create some new position within the firms, such as digital marketing and managing, consulting positions and all. But they won't create majority jobs related to unskilled sectors. If we differentiate between e-commerce and traditional platforms, offline supply chains, those which were providing a robust network, now present e-commerce, they uses technology. Prior to this offline supply chains, we don't have this technology, data, information to make decisions and connect stakeholders. But with e-commerce, they have everything, technology, data, information. They can make decisions then and there themselves, and then they connect the different stakeholders. But to do all these things, they require job roles that requires higher level of education and skill. So those that acquire relevant education with skills, they can only work in the e-commerce sector with some opportunities. But these jobs are not accessible to most of the people. Efficiency means in this sector, they focus more on efficiency, even profitability. This means there will be lesser position in this organization. Large share of this e-commerce supply chains, they rely on the platform workers. What do you mean by platform work? That is called gig economy. What is gig economy? You are working as a part-time member. Suppose say 15,000, less than 20,000, you will be working as a part-time member and you don't have any job security, nothing. That is called gig economy. This e-commerce sector, they are growing at good rate, but this is creating gig economy, which we don't want. Women employment across these e-commerce supply chain, like traditional supply chains, this is gendered. That means women are completely outstroked. Then if women are employed, they must be in packaging, warehousing, other than delivery in or high skilled positions, because it is a notion that women cannot be in a delivery locations because of safety concerns and all. However, there are good high skilled women are also there, but very few in number. This e-commerce sector, this is on rise. We cannot set back into stating that e-commerce is growing. We need to go in tandem with employment creations. Managing the impact of e-commerce is not matter of regulation, but appropriate and effective regulations to create and enable the businesses and workers to adapt the space and scale of disruption that is the need of the hour. That's what author says. This is small article about e-commerce revolution. Inclusiveness is not happening. So you can write down in answer writing from economic point of view. This article talks about live-in couples and what kind of vulnerability they will be facing. In 2022, investigations began into disappearance of 26-year-old women. You might have heard Shraddha Wakar. So she was murdered by her live-in partner. This got a lot of media trial. Basically, the girl was from Hindu family, the boy was from Muslim family. This ignited debates across the country. Even this spreaded a lot of miscontroversies, even religious hate crimes also. This case, this formed violence within the interfaith relationship. This failed to provoke debates on the violations of personal data that breaches individual privacy. The trial made in the crime as a precautionary tale against deviating from the conventional social norms. Basically, this boy, he killed her and then she was chopped into several parts and then her body was thrown different parts of the Mumbai area basically. So you can understand the gravity of the crime. Even recent surveys shows arranged marriages, they are becoming norm on India. Even it is our cultural norm. If you go anywhere in India, people seek arranged marriages because marriage means nothing but just marriage between men and women. Marriage means bride and groom, their families have to match, they have to discuss for the future. That is the norm that is in India. But this norm is slowly going. Present days, the choice of youth, they are shaped by societal pressures, even peer pressures also. There is a lack of legal protection available to interfaith couples, those marrying between the different religion, even those in living relationship also. There is no guarantee that you will be given protection. Even this Shraddha Wakar, her case can be taken as an example. India is a democratic country. It celebrates pluralism with several values such as socialism, religion, political practices. These are practiced institutionally in everyday lives of the citizens. The mechanisms of justice and law, they secure rights to each individual that is enshrined in our constitution. We guarantee fundamental rights, fundamental duties also. Present article author says this connects recent crime against unconventional couples and legal protection possibles for them. If you see how to seek justice, first thing author discusses Domestic Violence Act. In 2005 it was included. This was extended to live-in relationship also. In 2006, Supreme Court upheld intercaste marriages. Basically, there was a complaint from women called Lata Singh against her family because they were threatening to kill her husband. So the case had gone to Supreme Court and Supreme Court told intercaste marriages are good. So you cannot do anything. In the following judgment, Supreme Court extended the same protection to live-in relationship also. Supreme Court at that time told live-in or marriage-like relationship is not a crime or not a sin. Though it is socially unacceptable, that means it is not a bad practice. So country is not accepting. That is the law. That is how justice will happen. Law will happen. The law, this will offer protection against domestic violence to women in such a setups. Even the law offers property rights to children of such couples. But the complaints mostly seek protection against women's parents. Suppose a woman from one caste marries from another caste, their family will be threatening to do something. So mostly the women will be going and complaining against their family. There is one famous case, Chavli versus State of Uttar Pradesh. Allahabad High Court, they built conservatism towards marriage. Even in this case, Allahabad High Court told that, warned to many people that this emotional and psychological consequence of such alliances, not only prostitution, but sometimes as a result of this interfaith or live-in relationship, this women faces deportation or involvement in the commission of crimes. Basically, this case, court told women will face a lot of emotional trauma, physical trauma. Why? Because nobody likes when you go and marry from other faith. So during that case, court told women will face a lot of deportation. She will be completely thrown out from family, or the crime will be institutional against her. You might have seen a lot of honor killings happening in the country. It is not that every live-in relationship that will result in ill consequences, but most of the time, they don't have any parameter to find out the intention of the boys and girls who are in live-in relationship. If you see Shraddha Walker's case, she was killed by her live-in partner, and then her body had thrown all over the country. So who can guarantee all these things? There is a legal ambiguity that has been becoming a central issue in these kind of cases, because these relationships are not legal, but they do not offer rights and social acceptance possible with these marriages. This kind of intention, this become narrowly defined as the case of monogamous nature of couple relationship, and this leaves other form of companionship also. In Chawli case, court told fundamental rights securing the individual rights of the citizen should be looked into Indian perspective. So even if they marry in interfaith or live-in relationship, fundamental rights should be granted to these people also. That means, prior to this earlier judgment in 2006, court uphold what the decisions to grant fundamental rights to these couples in 2015 in Chawli versus State of Uttar Pradesh. Judgment viewed live-in relationship as a Western concept. They separate Western individual rights and protection from Indian traditional customary practices, because Indian institution place family as a basis of socialization. Court even appealed to unified Indian perspective that excludes class and social inequalities that can impact citizens' access to law. This homogeneous culture, this will overlook divergence in the experiences of the women across caste, economic groups, literacy levels, even settlement also. We might have studied n number of things, we might have lot number of degrees, but most of the time in Indian case, we will be sticking to our customs and cultures. That's what court says. We don't go beyond these things, and we don't accept all these things. These aspects, independently and collectively, they determine demands of the protection and possibility of accessing formal legal mechanisms. How to negotiate the law? The rights of the living couple weighed against the rights of couple in marriage, they are tolerated. The rights are tolerated but not accepted as natural to India. The judiciary's interpretation exposed couple to vulnerability by legitimizing customary practices through its trials. That's what author says. In 2024, if you see, Madhya Pradesh High Court, they dismissed interfaith couples' request seeking police protection against the women's family. Even the registered marriage, this observed that the union of Muslim man with fire worshipper of women. From women family, they told this is not a valid wedding as per Muslim law. Further, the couple could not prove their financial dependence or long-term residence. They are very critical to provide their relationship which is equal to marriage also. The rules that define criteria for establishing live-in relationship, this do not account for impossibility of opening bank account or cohabiting in India's rental market without proof of marriage or family ties. If you go in bank, you tell you want to open account or something, you should be married, so you cannot open bank account also. Even if you seek rental housing without your proper housing and all, so you will not be given because society will not accept you. This kind of restrictive nature, this will allow social conservatism, this will find way back into the secular institutions of justice in modern India. Under this garb of appeals in India's traditions and perspective, the judgment promote legal protection only through marriage. In 2023, High Court order told, even it held that it reserves many rights and privileges to married person to preserve and encourage the institution of marriage. So basically, Supreme Court is accepting social reality. It has no intention to unravel the fabric of Indian family life. If you see in Indian case, India's religious and legal pluralism, this offers possibility of rethinking interconnection between law and social practices. There are many efforts that have been done by non-state actors to support individuals expressing their autonomy. The court can seek the opinion of them, or even NGOs can also help to bring a new dimension into this area. The success of all these initiatives, they should lead to change in attitude towards socialization. They should create supportive community networks. This should also promote deliberations over the law as a corrective check to prevent these kind of discrimination. So we discussed three articles today. Thank you. Thank you very much for discussion.